We all have that one friend that calls when they need something. They dump everything, ask for a favour, and then they hang up. And if we're honest, most of us treat prayer like that. You don't mean to, but prayer turns into a routine. It's either a list, a panic button, or a last resort. And when you finish praying, nothing changes. So it starts to feel like you're talking to the ceiling. That's usually where people quit. What if the problem isn't that God isn't listening? Maybe the problem is that you were taught a ritual, not a relationship. Because prayer doesn't die from a lack of words. It dies from a lack of presence. Jesus didn't teach us to start prayer with anxiety. He taught us to start with a relationship. Matthew 6:9, Our Father. Not your emergency contact or a vending machine that you put in your request to, your Father. If you don't start there, everything else turns into pressure and transactional. And here's what nobody tells you. A lot of people stop praying, it's because they stop believing. They stop praying because it starts to feel humiliating. Like you keep talking and you keep asking, you keep trying and nothing. So then you start thinking, maybe I'm not hearing God because I'm not spiritual enough. Or maybe you're just not giving the conversation a second chance. Or maybe you're just not giving the conversation a second voice. Because not everything what God says is instant. Sometimes it's a nudge. Sometimes it's a check within your spirit. It could also be a peace that you can't even explain. And if you don't know what to listen for, prayer can always feel like a monologue. And in a moment, I'm going to share with you what changed my prayer life. Not when my life got easier, but when my prayer got quieter. Because there's a massive difference between silence and being present. So here's the rhythm. It's not a performance or a perfect prayer. It's a conversation. To have presence, you need two main things. First of all, you need to listen. And secondly, you need honesty. If you miss honesty, you'll be forever there waiting and you'll feel stuck. So first, let's look how to be present. Jesus said, go into your room and shut the door. That's quoted in Matthew 6:6. Not because the room is holy, but it's because you're away from the distractions. So put your phone down, unclench your shoulders, shake off the day, open up your hands, and start how Jesus told you. Our Father. That one word resets your whole posture. You're going to your Father. Now let's talk about honesty. Psalm 62:8 says, pour out your heart before Him. So don't pray what sounds good. Pray what's true. Father, I'm anxious. Father, I'm tired. Or Father, I'm scared. God is not intimidated by your honesty, but He's offended when you pretend. Because pretending keeps you in control, and honesty brings you into relationship. And lastly, let's talk about listening. This is the part that most people never learn. 1 Samuel 3:10 says, speak, Lord, for your servant is listening. So after you speak, stop and just wait. No music, no scrolling, no anticipation of what's to come. Just be present. Maybe then ask, Father, what do you want me to notice? Or what's my next step? God doesn't usually drop a 10-year plan. He gives you a next step. And the way He answers, it might be quieter than what you want. But it's usually clearer than you think. It could be a scripture that comes to mind, a conviction and feeling within you, maybe a warning, or a sudden clarity, or a peace that steadies you. And in some cases, it could be a vision, it could be a dream. Yes, because it's not only just for apostles and old school prophets, God still speaks to everybody today. Because the Bible's clear, the Lord shows no favoritism. And in Jeremiah 31 verse 33, it was God's heart, He said, that no man shall boast, for all will know the Lord. But that's the Father's heart. He wants to speak to everybody. Sometimes God answers instantly, and sometimes He doesn't. Sometimes you're in a season where you're being challenged and your character's being formed. And that's where the Lord is strengthening you. All you need to do within these challenging times is find His peace. Philippians 4 says, it's a peace that guards you. And this reminds me of the apostles when they're at sea, and they're all scared because of the storm, but Christ was asleep. And that's how it can feel when you get that deep relationship with God. In the midst of your trials and your testing, when you come to Father, you'll be like Christ, at rest and at peace. But if you're honest here, this raises a massive question. How do you know if you're sensing God? Or is it just your own thoughts? That's where people start overthinking. But don't worry, I've got you covered. Because if you click this video, I'll walk you through them exact steps to find out.